Yep.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day. Welcome back to the DK19 channel, where it is Saturday, which means it is a time for the Saturday Spiders to have their Dungeons and Dragons adventuring times. And because it is a Saturday, it means I'm joined by a wonderful gaggle of reprobates. We are joined by Pook, who's played by Westlaw, who's having minor mic differences because he's not a regular PC. Say hello.
Minor.
I must dare warrant you better Pook to mapping at your service.
Even less understandable with the mic there. It's the static.
Less understandable.
The static is optional. Other modulations are available. You also got Grokash, who is played by Badger.
Howdy all.
We've got Namir, who is played by Dakota.
Hello, everyone.
We have Nimriel, who is played by Ty.
Good day.
And we have Roland Hammer, who is played by...
Hello and fuck you.
Oh, low-hanging fruit. Couldn't resist. So we're going to the guys are just doing a quick recap for Westlaw over what happened in the morning, and then we're gonna go straight into the game. So I don't know if you guys want to continue saying what will happen for the morning stuff.
Go fresh.
Let's do it fresh. So
Starting the mirror.
last week, where they started, the session started picking up of the Saturday morning. Where they spent their Friday nights getting moderately sourced by a region of different ways. I'll leave it up to you guys now to tell your stories. Who wants to go first? I reckon let's have Roland Hammer go first.
Or not?
or not. That is another option as well. Fine, we'll have Grokash go first.
So Grokash didn't actually remember what he got up to, but he remembered waking up with a bunch of hobos stealing all his clothes. So
Oh yeah, I remember that.
that set him off in a foul mood for that day. pretty much where he was at.
What about Nimriel?
Okay, so Nimriel woke up late, but Namia had come to wake her up, and they had gone into a conversation that Nimriel didn't really quite understand, not on an emotional level, and it didn't seem like Namia appreciated that, so she left. So Nimriel followed.
What about Roland Hammer now? Now is Roland Hammer awake enough to tell his story?
Yeah, Roland Hammer. He got up actually quite nice and early. He saw the whole Namir and Nimriel kind of walk out, but he's more interested in the wine for breakfast. I don't see why that's a problem.
And
That's
therein
all.
lies part of the problem.
Yeah, I think so too.
And lastly, we'll go then with. I thought perhaps most importantly as well, we'll go with Namia.
Nemea awoke in a presumably a witch's hut, and her body was in literal pieces, although she was in control of her limbs. She had to piece herself back together through effort and returned to the city more than freaked out, afraid she was going to fall apart again. And first she traveled to the Temple of Helm and was informed by a priest there that she was under some kind of influence, but it was not a curse. That was her first thought. And so he suggested she could go see an alchemist named Darius in the northern portion of the city. And on her way back, she stopped by the Blue Stallion to try and speak with her party members, specifically Pook. And she tried to vaguely inform him of her position, but it was not in a direct fashion at all. It was with a question about whether he knew anything about brews that could pull a person apart. And seeing he was preoccupied, she went upstairs to check on Nimriel, who had her arm reattached the previous day after it was removed. And she tried to relay to Nimriel what happened, but felt she was being made fun of, and so in a huff, still emotionally torn up, she left the inn in a hurry, with several people following.
And Pook spent most of his morning nose deep in a book, enjoying his breakfast. Still in the Blue Stallion, because I felt it wouldn't be right to have you going off doing anything without you actually being here. And I think that without any further ado on that bit, we should then probably go straight back into the story, picking up with Grokash. I feel is probably the most suitable and an accurate way to begin this.
So, whereabouts? How far away am I from the inn?
You know exactly where the inn is, and where the party is. So you know that it's only going to be like literally 2-3 minutes at a brisk walk in a worst case scenario.
Okay. Well, I'm sprinting as fast as I can to the inn, where I'm gonna try and grab fucking Pook, little bastard.
Pook, we last left you sat in a little corner booth, like I said, enjoying your breakfast and being nose deep in a book.
And how much time would have passed?
One of your spell books. About an hour and a half has passed, which I figured for you being nose deep in a book is about bollockal time indeed.
Absolutely, yeah. I will still be sat in the booth. Anything that was hot in terms of food is probably cold, as I've forgotten it whilst reading.
Oh, those scrambled eggs are... yeah.
Oh no.
No, ruined now, ruined.
So much emotion for eggs. But I feel it as well. I understand.
It's going to be one of those
So-
highly emotionally charged sessions all about eggs.
Wow, that was a crunch.
That was the bacon.
I'm so sorry. My mic was already muted. I fucking turned it back.
Crunch.
Right. Yes.
So as Grokash rocks up, he's going to like charge in, look at Pook, like look for him. If he sees him, essentially just scream, "Come now, little one!" Like still at the door.
Oh yeah, you'll see him. I mean, you know where you last saw him in the Blue Stallion. You know,
Fuck is this?
yeah, you know where you last saw him, so he's not going to be anywhere different because it's Pook. He doesn't, you know,
This guy's
Um,
not
so-
a hobbit.
if he's got
Yeah.
his nose in a book, he'll be there for the better part of the day, won't he?
Okay, so seeing Grokash run in, and I mean, I imagine he's clearly distressed by the sounds of things.
Yes.
Yeah, Pook will reluctantly slam his book shut, replace the clasp on it, put it into his satchel, and grab a handful of egg as he runs towards the door with Grokash.
What a
Handful
fucking
of
caveman.
eggs. Oh, a handful of cold scrambled egg. I feel like that deserves a Constitution saving throw on its own. Jesus Christ.
Just follow the fucking scrambled egg trail.
A handful of cold scrambled egg. Well, he's definitely the bravest person of the party. Continue.
So once we've got him in tow, I'm gonna just make a run for the guard's house that I followed them to.
So whilst running, I was. So you got to explain what this is all about.
Yeah. So as we run, I'm gonna explain. So essentially, that Nemea is falling apart, and that they tried to fix it by sticking it back together with some alchemy, but for reasons unknown to me, they instead got into a fight, and now everyone is arrested. Roland Hammer, like, I don't know what he did. He stole something, but the alchemist was fucking done with him, so he called the guards, and then the others fought, and it was all crap. Like, because even Grokash is just bewildered at this point by what happened. But it's really important that we get to the guardhouse because the guards weren't going to stop for him. And the only thing I can think of is to fight our way in. But you're not that dumb, so you have to help.
How did this fight start?
Nemea and Nimriel were fighting because Nemea was falling apart. Obviously.
I mean, I don't think I follow, but right. Okay, we'll lead the way.
So yeah.
It sounds wrong, doesn't it? Doesn't that sound wrong? It just sounds so wrong.
I feel, if anything, less informed than when I started.
It throws you off the usual character.
So yeah, we're just gonna charge our way down. Because yeah.
Not
Okay,
forgetting your suck on elbows.
Elbows?
Yeah, walk like a sucker mum. Super fast. Not
Nah, I'm
actually
running. I'm fucking running.
Like knees to the chest, belt in it. Like,
Yeah. Kicking motherfuckers out of the way if they're too slow.
Jesus Christ. It's turned into a mobile game.
Oh my
We've got a
word.
place,
It's
got a place to
running
be.
running that fast, getting new karate chops. It's brilliant.
Okay, so the north, the northwest guardhouse. It looks very similar to the northeast guardhouse in terms of the fact that it, having a the like the scaffolds built up around them and stuff to make it so that guards can more easily see. Nothing really looks that different. what would Vrokash and or Pook like to do once they get there and are presented with a scene that has been seen by them several times before of a guardhouse that's active with carts going in and out through the gate?
Where are they,
this
Grokash?
So I'll show them the building that I followed them into. Well, followed them to, rather, as they didn't go in.
Where are they now?
Well, I don't know, here? Where do prisoners get taken?
Right, so they're prisoners now.
Of course they're prisoners!
Didn't
The
explain
guards
this.
came! The guards came and took them! You don't take them as friends.
Took us on a night out. It's really nice.
Where is it? Where is Rollenhammer?
He's with the... At this point, Grokash is like putting his hands in his head in his hands is like, what the? How do you not understand they've been taken?
Taken, part 3.
Given your hasty explanation whilst running, I wasn't given all the information I required. So all 3 of them now are currently interred in prison. Is that correct?
Yes, in there.
Right. Wonderful. Do you know what charges they're kept under?
At this point, he's just gonna tilt his head, looking very confused because he's got no fucking idea what you're talking about.
Why?
What are charges?
Why were they arrested?
I've told you they were fighting in the Alchemists, and Rollenhammer stole something.
Right. Okay, that I didn't know. So, were they fighting the alchemist or each other? Did anyone else get hurt?
I don't know.
Don't know.
No.
He didn't actually see any of that, did he?
Yeah.
Right. Wonderful.
At this point, I'm just gonna walk into the guardhouse because people
Ready?
hopefully follow.
Do you recognise any of the guards here? Are they involved?
Yeah. Probably. Maybe.
Sounds
I
like a
don't know.
roll.
Would you
Sounds
like
like
we all
would you
look
like to
the
do a
same.
perception? Would you like to do a perception check and see if you do recognise any particular faces?
Stupid humans. They're all the same.
I like
That's
it.
racist.
Yeah, but I know exactly what it means.
That was the most weirdly cute and adorable thing I've ever heard come out of this entire party.
Yeah, it sounded like a little
Oh.
girl just entered the fucking shop.
Oh,
I'll
dear.
I'll link you what I was
I'm
imitating.
fairly sure I know it, to be honest.
I'm pretty
but yeah,
sure
but yeah.
you do. I don't know if Ty does though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see you. Show me.
Yeah. So with the 15 perception, you do recognise the 2 of the guards that are standing just outside the entrance to the barrack. They're just talking between themselves. You do recognise them as 2 of the ones who were in the large group that were escorting your companions.
Oh, in that case, I say yeah, those 2.
Right. Allow me to do
point
the
them out.
talking. So Pook will. What are they? Are they stood in front of the actual guard house itself, or?
Yeah, so basically, where the entrance to the guardhouse is, like the entry door for it, they're stood like about 2 or 3 feet to the side, just facing each other. They don't appear to be like on duty or anything. They're just like they seem to be just not so much goofing off, but just conversing with each other.
Okay. So Pook will stride confidently, but not aggressively, toward them. Morrow.
And one of them turns around to try and see the voice, and just like his gaze just goes completely over the top of your head, and his companion just like taps him gently in the chest and points down, because one of them had their back to you, one of them was looking in the right direction. So it's like, yeah. Oh, yes, sir. How can we help?
Don't worry, I'm quite used to that. Now, I understand some of my associates have been interred here. I wish to speak with them, please.
That shouldn't be too much of an issue. I mean, they'll be in the holding cell until they're charged, until they're fully charged and processed. I'll take you in to talk with the captain.
Thank you.
And he does so. He leads you in, leaves his companion there, who lights up the pipe, and he leads you into the guardhouse. On the inside of the guardhouse, you can see against basically against the far wall. There's a couple of desks, and there is you recognise the face and figure of Darius, the elixir seller, the elixir shop owner, speaking with someone who you assume to be either a sergeant or the captain, someone who's clearly not just a guard. And you have got your companions are all in a holding cell, which takes up approximately a third of the room, just off to the left-hand side against the wall.
Okay.
There is only your companions and one very, very clearly, like, properly asleep, drunk, homeless guy.
Okay.
Can he actually see me? Can I describe what Nami is doing?
Well, yeah, I mean, you guys, you're all visible. This is just like, this is like a stereotypical holding cell sort of thing. So if you guys want to describe what you would be doing in said holding cell, before, so that Puka knows what he's seeing when he enters.
I think it would take a lot more time than a statement.
Yeah.
I'll do your best.
Yep. Take your time. We one thing we've got is time. One thing you guys got in time.
Namia's sitting in the corner and she's kind of huddled. Is there a bench?
Yeah, there's a couple of benches, they're each about like 1.5 meters long, spaced along the side with the wall.
Okay, well, she's sitting on the bench in a corner, and she's got one hand clasped to her ear, and so you can't see what's beneath her hand, and then her other hand is kind of wrapped around her body, and it looks like her hand. As I'm saying this, I've actually got my hand to my ear, like I'm the one doing it. And her other hand, it looks like it's resting in the small of her back, and she's just kind of staring at the floor.
Question.
Yes.
Nimril made an attempt to take that tail off of him, or was it the ear? Did she do that?
No.
No, both are in the motherfucker's bag.
Lame.
And also, is the guard with her body parts there with his bag.
Yeah, he's actually the sergeant who's taken the details from Darius.
Okay,
Should
I describe it or just have?
Why don't you all just quickly give me a perception check? I think everyone who's in the room can give me a perception check.
Nice.
Oh yeah, Westlord definitely sees this.
Gotten off well.
In the sergeant's bag, you can visibly see it wriggling.
Yeah,
quite vigorously.
Yeah, this bag is wriggling like it's like a satchel of cats,
A bag of eels, more like.
Remind me, we received our uniforms already, didn't we?
No, your uniform's being sent to the guild house.
Right, okay, that's fine. So is the alchemist in conversation with the captain?
Yeah. So with the nat 20 on perception as well, you also pick out that he's very calmly describing what happened. Is like, yes, well, they came in, and there's some well, I won't say it was a story because I saw the evidence of it from the poor girl, but she had this thing where her body parts were falling off, and she wanted to know the exact means of well, if there's a magical nature or something that caused it, or some form of what potion would do it, and I imagine she was wanting me to find a way to rectify it. But when their companion, the little dwarf fellow, chose to try and bump one of the locks of my displays, and I wasn't very pleased about that, and it kind of put me off of the whole group of them. And then on top of that, they then started fighting in my shop, which really was beyond the pale. I had no interest at all in dealing with that. I will admit, I overreacted, and I got involved, and I did rip off the poor girl's ear and scream into it in an attempt to get her attention. As I know you will be aware in your records, recently the shop was burgled. I've been under an awful amount of stress lately, and I overreacted, and I am willing to apologise and as is necessary for this for my actions.
So Pook will stride in the room, He will have his hands clasped behind his back, not quite standing to attention, but certainly stood still and awaiting the conversation to abate. He doesn't want to interrupt them.
Well, as you get like, a few steps in, one of the other guard, or another guard who is sat at the other desk, he looks up and steps over to meet you and says, "Good afternoon, sir. How can I help?"
I'm here to speak with my associates, the ones that are currently interred.
And he'll cast a glance over at the holding cell. Like, okay, are you their representative or of some sort? You certainly aren't dressed like they are.
You may say so, yes. I also wish to speak to the captain if this is possible.
He's just taken a statement at the moment. If it's important, I can speak with him about it.
If you wouldn't mind.
Certainly, sir. Bear with me just a moment. And he'll walk over to the captain and does that, that classic thing you've all seen in Hollywood of where the underling comes along, just puts a hand on the shoulder and leans in and just whispers in the captain's ear. He politely holds up his hand to Darius for a moment, looks over in your direction, nods to the sergeant, and then continues with the conversation. The sergeant. Sorry, I said it was the sergeant who was taking the information before, didn't I? I do apologize on that bit. Yes, right. Diddle-diddle-dee. Let's twiddle this all around. So yes, the sergeant is taking the details. The captain is actually the one who comes over and speaks to you straight away. So yeah, we'll retcon that bit there, because I got myself a little bit confused. So the captain comes up to you, and he asks how it can help you then. And he does the
Greetings.
same thing.
I'm here to speak with my compatriots who are currently under your care, and to see if I can't resolve this situation favourably for all parties.
Well, your companions, they are currently facing charges of affray, attempted theft, and property damage.
Oh, from what I've gathered, these are charges in some ways that are warranted. However, may I ask what charges are being brought against the proprietor of the alchemy?
At this time, no charges are being brought against him. We haven't finished taking all statements, so I can't say as to nothing happening.
Now, of course, I would not wish to interrupt or indeed interfere with the process of law or taking a statement, but if possible, I also wish to speak to the alchemist.
I'm afraid that's not going to be possible, unless you are also his representative.
Don't mind me asking on what grounds. I just wish to speak to him as a citizen to a citizen.
Well, it might be possible. It all depends on whether or not he wants to speak to you, really. And
This is
if
fair.
you are the representative of your companions, and they are the ones that he has a grudge against, as it were, then I don't know as he's going to want to speak with you.
Fair. But if you could explain to him that I'm here to ensure that justice is indeed served correctly according to the current maladies and situation.
Well, you're going to have to wait at least until all statements are taken before we can allow anyone else to.
Absolutely,
Well,
Captain.
you can speak with your companions at least. I can allow you to do that. There'll be a guard nearby able to keep an eye on things and make sure that everything is above board. But I'll be wanting to take a statement from all of them shortly.
Absolutely. And as I said before, please do tell me anything I can do to help speed this process along, and I certainly don't want to interfere with it.
Well, I think not interfering or interrupting what is occurring is probably going to be the most efficient way that you can help this investigation.
Absolutely, and I intend to cooperate as fully as possible. Would I be able to speak with my companions, please?
Yes, by all means. And he waves over the guard, points at you, and then goes back to his desk to continue reading through the paperwork he was looking through. As they're finishing up, the sergeant who was taking the statement from from Darius finishes up taking that statement, speaks with him a little bit longer, and then it takes Darius over to where there are some benches in the. So it seems to be like a waiting area. Sits him down there. Has a hand quite firmly on his shoulder. You can see he's still speaking to him for a moment, and he points around the room a little bit, and then just leaves him there. Heads over to the holding cell, where you're there, and let's see. I'll give you guys a few moments to talk. So
Right. You've got yourselves in a mess again, I see. I need the details and facts, emotionless, please, if you will. What happened?
They have my ear and my tail.
Okay. What else?
And Nimriel just cast a glance at the dwarf, albeit a little bit testful.
Rollenhammer, it seems there is something you need to say.
Rollenhammer just kind of looks at Poke, like biting his nails, and shrugs, and then goes like back to biting his nails.
Rollenhammer, it appears...
It's been like 20 minutes and they've all gone fucking stir crazy in prison already. Jesus Christ.
Wallenhammer, it appears you are not aware of the gravity of the situation. Currently, I do not care what grievances we have together. However, if you wish to come out of this situation, I need the details and the full details. Can you please tell me what happened?
So, Rollenhammer kind of like sighs and stands up and walks to the bars closest to Poke and like, wow. And then he basically explains that about the fight. So he was telling her about the ripping of the ear and the pulling of the tail and the tickling and the miscommunication. But then it's like, I wasn't trying to steal anything. I just wanted to smell it.
That be as it may, what you're describing to me is you attempted to break a lock of which was not your own, correct?
I didn't know it was locked. I just tried opening it.
Wallenhammer, cut the bullshit.
All right.
So we don't even need no deception or insight rolls on this, okay? I'm just letting that run.
All right. I might have tried Jimmy in it.
Right. That's what I needed to know. Namir?
I did offer to pay for it. I did offer it. And then he told me to bugger off.
Which is understandable.
You bugger
Nimriel,
off.
Did he just say you bugger off?
Nimriel,
Yes.
recount, please.
While we were in the store, I may have taken the tail from Namia to tease her with. She did
Right.
not take too kindly to this and jumped on me.
I can understand that absolutely.
I did not fight
So-
back with her, but that man ripped her ear off, and for that I swiped him off his feet. This is the only thing I did wrong.
Right.
Namia kind of looks up from the floor and says, I'm just really upset because my body is falling apart. And when I saw my tail in her hand and knew it wasn't attached to my body, she kind of visibly grips herself harder, and like her nails kind of dig into the side of her face where she's holding her over her ear. And she continues, I freaked out and I jumped on Nimriel. It's supposed to pass. I'll apologize, whatever. I just want my ear back and I want my tail back.
You don't need to apologize.
Right, well, this is all warm and fuzzy, but we're still in quite the predicament. What have they told you about the charges?
I I don't remember.
Okay, so at this point, the sergeant's finished having the little conversation with Darius, and he's walked over to the holding cell. He goes to unlock the door, he points. He's not like having a go. He's not being unkind, but he points towards Nymeria and goes like, "Lassie, will you come with me, please?"
I actually didn't hear precisely which inn you said.
That was Nymeria.
Okay.
That he's.
She'll kind of push to her hooves and she'll walk forward, but it's a little awkward because of the way she's got her
like
arms
being a bit
held.
off balance and stuff. Yeah.
But at
She
least
kinda-
give her body parts back.
Quiet.
He kind of
I'm not
skirts
talking to
around
you.
Nimril.
Right. And he'll open the cage door, the holding cell door. Basically, the guard who's by the cell comes over to basically just hold you by your shoulder. He's not like they're not like you're manhandling you. At least he's just like just keeping hands on you. You feel like it's more like the process, the fact that they have to keep they have to keep eyes and hands on people when they're when they're potentially being charged with things. Close the cell up again.
At this point, I will turn to the sergeant. Sergeant, as the representative of this group, I wish to be present during all statements.
That's fine. He looks over at the captain who nods. He goes, yeah, okay, that's fine. Grab one of the stools from another desk and come on over then.
Very kind.
And he'll take he takes Nymeria over to the desk he was sitting at. The guard who's come over with you basically he sits Nymeria down. He's not like pushing down to the chair. They're being very polite and calm about all of this. Very professional. And he stays nearby. The sergeant pulls out a couple of sheets of parchment and some fresh sheets of parchment. Has his quill ready. Before doing that, though, he reaches down to the side of the table, pulls up the sack, and as gingerly as one can, a sack that is wriggling, hands it over to you, to Nymeria, and goes like, "I understand these belong to you, Lass, and we've had the conversation with Darius about exactly what's going on with it, and he recommends that we try to keep you as much in one piece without knowing when the effects of this potion are going to wear off, but he did ask me to tell you that he expects it to be sometime within the next 24 hours the effects of the potion will wear off. He doesn't expect that you'll be in any danger if you are not complete at that time, but he also said that it's a risk not worth taking."
The relief on her face is visible, like or it's almost as if she might just fall out of her chair. She accepts the bag and releases the side of her head and her rear end, and she goes to reach into the bag to gather her body parts. As she looked around, is Darius in the room or has he left?
Yep. So Darius is in the room. So basically, if you imagine, it's like the room that we're in, that we'd be in, basically just being like a square. So like you've got the left hand side of the room, so like about a third of that side, so like in a rectangle third of that side as being the holding cell. Like the opposite corner of that is like a waiting area, and he's seated in the waiting area, basically sort of just twiddling his thumbs really. There's a few guards around in the room, and you get the feeling that when you saw the sergeant go and sit him down over there and have a word with him, basically he was being told, "We're not going to put you in the cell with the other people that you clearly having a disagreement with, because that would be fucking stupid. But there's more of them than there is of you, so you're going to sit there and be good, or that big burly man over there is going to sit on your face." Or a much more professional version of such a thing. You get the feeling that he's been made to understand that he needs to behave himself.
Okay.
And so it's not like he's getting off lightly in terms of like you're not being treated in the same way. It's just they've only got one holding cell, and you're all in the basically equal amount of trouble at this point.
Sergeant, let me start by firstly showing my
Hold on
gratitude.
now. Hold on now.
The sergeant does sort of look up and say at the same time, like, I said you could observe, didn't say you could join in.
Absolutely not, and I do not intend to. I just wish to express my gratitude for allowing me
Still
to sit
sound
in.
an awful lot like you're joining in. Sit, be quiet, or leave.
Very well.
Right,
Namia,
young lady, are you feeling much more yourself now?
She's reattached her ear, and she's reattached her tail, and her tail's still wriggling, but it's more just to make sure everything's working. And she wraps her tail around her leg.
So she's put it on
And
the right way up and stuff.
She's got her tail attached to her head and her ear now. Things are in the right place. No, she nods and she looks directly at Darius and she's got a visibly thankful expression on her face, and she nods and then returns her attention to the man who's speaking to her, and she says, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir."
Would you be able to give me your account of what happened from... Well, the thing that matters most to me is from the point where you entered the shop. If you feel that things happened before that would be pertinent to the story, feel free to include them. And he is there ready and waiting with quill and ink.
She points to her ear and she says, "Well, you've seen that my body's coming apart, so I woke up. It had to have been a witch's hut, and my body parts were everywhere. I had to pull. My hands had to crawl to my body." And she kind of shudders at the memory, and so I went to the Temple of Helm. I thought maybe I was cursed, maybe I pissed some witch off, and he told me I wasn't cursed, but maybe I should seek out Darius. And she points in Darius's direction and doesn't look at him, and continues and says, I was really upset. My friends followed me, and she kind of sighs after she says friends, and while we were in the shop, Nimrael, and she points over her shoulder back at the cage, she pulled my tail off, and I freaked out and I jumped her, and that's how the fight started.
Okay, so the sergeant's been making notes of basically writing down this information. Right. Okay. Well, been a gardener for nigh on 25 years, so I wish I could say this was the weirdest story I've ever heard, but Neverwinter City, it's a lot of things happen here, and it's frankly doesn't make the top 5. Right. Okay. Well. It seems like actually a very, very simple story in this one. Can I just ask the? It seems well that you just like had a bit of a more of like an emotional response as opposed to actively trying to cause anything. What? How did Darius end up on the floor with you all? How did your ear end up in his hand?
Well, I think he tried to stop us, but I mean, he definitely tried to stop us when he pulled my ear off. I think when he yelled in my ear, he said something. He just basically said stop, and I was seeing red. I was real upset.
Right, fair. Well, given what you've just told me, that's actually quite understandable. I don't feel like there's actually much more information I need to take from this, to be honest, and I do need to try and get statements from your other companions as well. Right. You seem like a fairly centered person. Do I need to put you back into the holding cell, or are you going to be okay to sit in the waiting area?
I should be okay.
Or would you even like to go back in the holding cell and spend the time with your companions? If you want to, I'm not going to stop you.
I'd rather just sit in the waiting area.
It's understandable. Right. Okay. And he finishes making a few little extra scribbles on the paperwork for it. He gets up, walks around to your side.
Sir. What's your
sir.
name?
Jason.
Thank you, Jason.
First name basis for that.
Alright, okay, cool, Sean. Right, so yeah, so he'll walk around to the other side of the table, to the other side of the desk, to you, and he again, like, basically puts both hands on your shoulders to basically stand you up, essentially. Takes you over to the to the waiting area and sits you down. Keeps one hand on your shoulder. He's gripping firmly, just basically so that you know pay attention to him while he's speaking at this point. Because I'm going to tell you what I told Darius, which is that there are other guards around the room. Sitting you here is an element of trust. If you break that trust, the guards will step in. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic stuff. Right. Well, if I need to speak to you again, I'll be over again.
Okay. Like, is she sitting next to Darius now?
No, not sitting next to Darius. He's got you
Okay.
sitting a couple benches away.
Okay.
The guards are, there's a guard that's like within like 10 feet of both of you, just like basically standing in the waiting area with you.
She'll kind of glance at Darius and give him an apologetic kind of twist of the lips. But she won't say anything, and she'll just sit quietly, kind of just somewhat huddled. She's not as afraid anymore because she's together again, but she's still aware that she can fall apart.
Yeah. Cool. Right. So he's going to walk back over to the desk for a moment to speak to Pook, and he said, "Was everything to your liking there, young man?"
These things seem to be proceeding according to how they should.
Right.
Just as we have a short moment now, as I was saying, I just wanted to tell you I appreciate you allowing me to sit in and be the representative in this case.
That was the captain's choice, not mine. So if you're going to thank anyone, thank him. Right. I'm assuming
But you have been very accommodating. Yes, please.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So he'll walk back over to the holding cell. Nimriel's by the bars, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So he'll basically just walk over straight in front of the other side of the bars, right? Right. You're coming out now. Do I need to grab one of my companions to aid you, or are you going to be nice and amicable?
Rather you didn't. I'll talk to you just fine.
Fantastic stuff. And he walks over. He signals you to step over to the gate, and puts the key into the lock. Gives it a twist and opens up the gate for you. He again, a guard comes over to basically just do the same as he did with Nemea. And he's not being rough with you or anything at all. It's more you get that same feeling that it's just procedure. Takes you over to the desk, sits you down, and the sergeant sits back down the opposite side of the desk again. Right. Okay. So I've been told. That I've been told a number of things. If you would like to tell me your account of what happened, like I said to your companion, the thing I care about most is what happened from the point when you entered the shop. If anything happened beforehand that you feel would be relevant, then by all means include it.
Of course. We followed Nemea into the shop. Something about keeping her body intact. Normally I like to tease Nemea, but in this case, I think that it upset her when I detached her tail. I did not expect this.
I don't mean to cut you off or anything on this, but I just thought I'd let you know that your companion is now back in one piece again.
I was watching. Thank you.
Right, carry on.
I was not expecting such a result, and so she jumped on me. I did not fight back. I did not make any more ruckus in this case. But when the store owner took her ear off, it made me very angry. So I grabbed his foot and pulled him off of his feet. I wanted the ear back to put back on her body. She was upset with me, which is, I suppose, understandable. But the man had no right to detach her ear. Though I do appreciate that he seems to be okay with you giving her body parts back.
Well, the thing that he was most upset with was the ruckus being caused in his shop, and the fact that you two were, if not stopped, were quite liable to cause him to lose some more capital. He's
Some more capital.
he's had a bit of a poor run lately, to be honest with you. So he's been a bit unlucky with his interactions with adventurers.
Understandable.
Earlier this week, we actually had to report to his shop. There was reports of a break-in where he ended up losing a not small amount of money. But that's not exactly your fault. But he was, shall we say, emotionally charged at the best of times. And somewhat upset with the recent events. Well, he certainly seems to be a much calmer individual now than you were.
I would have appreciated it if one of your men had not punched me in the face twice.
Well, you don't seem any the worse off for it. You don't have a broken nose or black eye, so I don't really have any evidence that you did punch in the face. But knowing the guards who came to get you, I wouldn't be surprised if you did.
She just looks down at her bloodied shirt while she's wiped her face.
Yeah. The sergeant does purposely ignore that bit because you're an adventurer and you heal more quickly. You know, you have this and the whole thing of you being an Arsamar. You don't really seem to have suffered any major ill effects. I mean, that blood could have been there from anything. You know, you could have been doing a particularly bad job of brushing your teeth this morning. You never
Has
know.
anyone ever actually smacked themselves on the inside of the mouth with a toothbrush when they're going too fast? No?
Yeah.
It is uncomfortable.
I nearly choked myself by. I was in a rush and I actually managed to force my toothbrush down my throat. That was.
Ow.
Yeah, it was.
I assume.
I really wasn't paying any attention to what I was doing because I was kind of like, I was in a rush and I was dicking around on my phone at the same time, and then the next thing I knew was like, yeah, it was not a good day to be DK. Right, so the guardsman, the sergeant, Fish is making a few notes. Right, okay, well, I'll tell you once I've finished talking with your last companion exactly what's going to be going on, because I need to address all of you at the same time. The nature of what's going on with it, your distressed companion, I'm sitting her where she is. I feel that she is in most need of that. I'm going to put you back into the holding cell whilst I get your last companion up his statement. And then once that's all done, I'll be letting you know exactly what the situation is.
I do hope you give him just as hard a time as we should.
Oh, don't you worry about it. There's a good chance that you won't be seeing him for a little while on this one. But I didn't say that out loud because that'd be very unprofessional of me. God knows I wouldn't be unprofessional after 25 years in the Force. He steps up.
Sergeant,
Yes, young man.
I apologise to interrupt, but as their representative, once you have taken all statements and before decisions are made, shall I be allowed a chance to speak?
To me or to them?
All involved.
If you must, I suppose that comes under it. You can sit there for a minute though, while I go and get the dwarf.
Of course.
Right. So he'll, the guard goes with you again. Basically, he's like got hold of your shoulders to take you back to the holding cell again, being all very neat and professional about it. Puts you back into the cell, and basically just points a little finger at Roland Hammers, crooks the finger over, like, you over here.
Wait, is he still drunk? Or partially intoxicated?
I don't know.
I think it got taken off me after I took a couple of swords.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. Well, like, Roland Hammer's got like his back towards like where everyone is, so he kind of looks up, and as he's like biting his nails, he bites it a little too short. And, crap. So he just kind of like looks at him with his finger in his mouth, and that's when he kind of goes and follows him out.
So yeah, as you get to the entrance of the holding cell, the guard who's come along a little bit more firmly than had the two ladies grips your shoulders and leads you over to the desk.
As he grips, just like want to pull away and just be like, "What am I gonna do? Headbutt you in the shin?" and then kind of like walk up.
Yeah, no, the guard will just grip hold of your shoulders more tightly, basically the sergeant just looks down and says like, "If I were you, I'd behave. You're the one who's in the most amount of trouble."
Just like with their finger still in mouth, just like mumble and then do what you request.
Okay. So he'll lead you over to the desk. Sits you down.
Dan.
Yeah.
Westlar's laptop just died. He's on his way back.
Yes. Just saw that message. But we will. So we might as well. We'll give him a moment. But yeah. So So just to clarify the points in that bit. Nimia is in the waiting area. Nimriel is back in the holding cell.
Oh right, I totally misread that as Namir.
No. So Namir is in the waiting area where there is a guard. So it's very clear this is a place where you're given more of an element of trust. And I've kind of planned this out a little bit. And Nimriel, as in terms of all the states that have been taken so far, Nimir is in the least amount of trouble of the players. Anyway, Nimir is in the least amount of trouble. Nimriel is in the middle, and Roland Hammer is definitely in the most amount of trouble.
Nemia is still clueless that Roland Hammer tried to steal anything. She'll find out here in a second.
Yeah, Roland Hammer is actually pretty clueless to why they started fighting. So,
What's going on?
I'm going to assume also that. Well, I'm going to just say Nimriel definitely didn't seem stealing, but it's just something she wouldn't even question a stranger saying.
Yeah. I think all of us, everyone expects the ranger to pretend to be a rogue.
I will quickly be right back, but go ahead and continue when he's ready. He's back in the channel now.
I'm back here, yeah. No, sorry about that.
It happens. Technology, yeah!
It literally did not indicate it was even low on battery. It just went, nope, turned off.
My tablet did that the other day. I was like, I was watching an anime.
Apologies, but I'm back.
I don't need to apologise for being back. It's perfectly fine. We'll let you off on good behaviour. Speaking of letting people off on good behaviour, and probably not, Roland Hammer is sat down at the sergeant's desk, and the guard stays much closer than it did previously to the two ladies, and the sergeant sits back down on the other side of the desk, and it basically just sort of like sits there and just stares at Roland Hammer for a moment and goes like, all the reports that I've had so far from all three of the other people involved say that you're probably not necessarily the root of all this, but certainly the biggest troublemaker. So what I would like you to do is tell me your recollection of what happened from the point when you entered into the Darius's shop. What I care most about is what happened from the point of entering the shop. If there's anything that occurred before that time that you feel would be pertinent to the story, please let me know.
So Roland Hammer looks and thinks about, like, I don't know, shall we start from when I was born? No, so he's thinking, he's like, well, I'm going to be honest with you. You don't really care about that crap. And he's going to, like, shift over to Poke and be like, I did offer all the money that thing was worth. I'll pay it off. I'll give him the money, and we'd be fair. But no, he had to rip an ear off.
Right. Okay. So, if you'll forgive me, that's a very, very brief and I feel very vague statement. Can you please explain to me exactly where we get between and he goes back over the other paper with the other statements. Right, where do we go from? Let's see. The point where your companion has an issue regarding their body falling apart. And then, as you've mentioned, we have the bit where Darius pulls her ear off. And it kind of all goes a bit bad there. At what point between those two did you attempt to bump the lock on the display cabinet?
Yeah, so Roland Hammer basically explains that like they're they're talking, and that Namia's like tried the tickling, and then they started bumping fists and whatnot. And then he looks at him and was like, I might have tried pulling the lock up a bit hard, but my apologies to the man. I offered to pay for it. After that, he had none of it. Went over to Mia, pulled her ear off, and whole hell break loose from there. I tried doing a runner, but you see where that got me.
Yeah, so have you heard the phrase, innocent people don't run?
Nope.
Right, well, remember it for future reference. You may find it actually helping your life out a little bit, if nothing else. Right.
Honesty is the best policy, and what do I owe the man? Because I will pay for my crime, it just depends on how much it is.
Fuck's sake.
Right, so he makes a few more scribbly notes. I was like, okay, so... Also, I mean... A bottle of wine at this time of the morning. Really?
Don't judge me. I've had a hard week.
So he looks back over at the holding cell to what is very clearly an incredibly drunk human curled up in the corner. He's very clearly it's the holding cell / drunk tank standard resident. So
Wait, hey.
Roland Hammer will lean forward and look at him and be like, he doesn't look like he can handle his liquor, eh?
yeah,
Oh my God.
he's a regular guest, and he's often picked up around about the same sort of time as you were picked up, with around about the same sort of contents in his hand and bag. And
Aye, but it takes a lot longer for it to hit me, and I'm only 3'3".
are you only 3'3"? You must be taller than that as a dwarf.
I don't know. I didn't really.
Such a compulsive liar.
It's embellishing. I'm using hyperbole. I did say I was going to headbutt him in the shin. So he's making a joke on himself. He's good like
Yeah,
that.
no,
If you're only 3'3", you're actually smaller than Pook.
Yeah, I mean, I've got at least like half a foot on Pook. At least.
Yes,
I'll
right.
put you about 4 then.
Yeah, but like I say, it's a hyperbolic joke that he will use a lot of.
So he'll put down the piece of parchment and the and the quill and says, right, well, no small amount of this is actually out of my hands, because there are certain rules that are to be followed and such. So
Does that depend on if he breaks, if he wants to complete the charge?
that is certainly a factor in it. So what
Bring
you're
him
going to do now is you're going to be taken back to the holding cell.
Can I talk to him for just a wee bit?
Wallenhammer, please, let the man speak.
All right.
You're going to be taken back to the holding cell. I'm going to have one last word with Darius regarding his options, and then we'll let you know exactly what's going to be occurring.
Of course, as you have said, I shall also get a chance to speak on the behalf.
Yes. Well, I'll take you over. So I'll take you over to the holding cell now. Right. Okay. So he stands you up. The guard that's by the desk stands you up and all but frog marches you back over to the holding cell. He's clearly annoyed with you. And he doesn't like. He's not like harshly shoves you back in, but you're very firmly guided back into the cell with the door clanging shut behind you.
So wait, you mean that he didn't put Roland Hammer's feet on top of his feet, hold his hands, and walk him back like that?
From a toddler.
That would be that would be toddler marching, not frog marching. It's a little bit.
I know.
Racist.
So the sergeant turns back to Pook and says, "Did you want to speak with your companions now, or do you want to speak to? Because I need to speak to Darius first before you do."
Of course. However, I am requesting, as a representative in this case, to be truly representative, I would need an impartial view, as I intend to give one. And so I would therefore request that I also hear Darius' account to ensure that my view is both fair and impartial.
Well, for that matter, whilst I was speaking with him, you can read his statement, and he points to the guard, snaps his fingers, and the account is brought over, and it is basically pretty much word for word. It was the other bit that you overheard, and it was it's the information there regarding that he basically Darius has said that they came into the shop, that Nemea had made him aware of the malady that was afflicting her. The test that he did, which was regarding running a test on her one of her fingernails. The attempt by Roland Hammer to try and as he was seeing it anyway, the attempt by Roland Hammer to break into one of the display cases, but believing him to be then attempting to steal some of his stock. The then fight between the Nimir and Nimriel, and then his involvement in that fight, with the ripping off of the ear and the shouting down it, and then the ending up on the floor.
Finish him.
And then the being picked up by the guards who came in and broke up the scrap. It is. Everything in it basically backs up and does match up with the elements of what the companions of your companions have said as well. I'll let you know, basically in this all so far, no one has actually outright lied, but Roland Hammer's come really close. Roland Hammer has been very, very generous with the truth.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you for allowing me.
That is Roland Hammer.
Yeah.
I will now return to speak to my companions.
And whilst you're speaking to the companions, is when the sergeant will go over to speak with Darius. But first of all, he'll speak to he'll speak to Nemir and says, "I believe your short companion wants to have a word with all of you." He points to the guards. So if you can just take her over to the entry of the holding cell so that he can speak with them all at once. So you're taken over to the holding cell, but not put in the holding cell whilst the sergeant speaks with Darius.
All right, Nemea will stand there, and she's still got her tail wrapped around her leg, and her arms are kind of crossed around her body, but she's not hunched down on herself and clinging like she would have been seen earlier. She's a little more relaxed, but she still looks pretty shaken up.
Right. So, having heard all accounts and read the account of Darius, I feel I have a good hand on the situation. So, you went into a shop. There was some emotion involved when a certain tail was plucked from a certain person, and a fight ensued. As far as I'm aware, no assault was actually done on behalf to the shopkeeper until he first assaulted you. Then, understandably, under emotion, you scuffled to get back said ear. Wallenhammer bumped into a lock, and it seems very much from the description that one of you was assaulted by a guard more than once, and this seems to have been taken lightly, as if it may not have happened, because there was not much evidence, which there also seems to be very little evidence for the other things that have been laid on the table, and also an admittance that the shopkeeper is indeed under some emotional duress which may have affected the way that he acted and decisions that he will make. So you will forgive me if I ask you to speak from this point forward, as I fully understand the case, and ask you to place this into my hands and leave it at that.
Roland Hammer will kind of like walk up to you and kind of hold out his hand to shake.
There will be time for shaking of hands later, Roland Hammer, when we have had a good discussion after this whole debacle.
That wasn't part of the deal.
I
He
wasn't
still got his
aware.
hand out.
I wasn't aware that I was making a deal.
Oh well, and then he retracts his arm and goes to the back.
Can we just leave this alone as long as we get out of here? I don't want to. Everyone's okay. And she just sighs and stops.
We will have discussions when we leave this place. This is not the first time that I've been called in or found myself digging you out of trouble. Now, certainly, you have also repaid in kind previously, but discussions do need to be had. As I say, please allow me to do the talking from this point forward.
I should note that Nimriel's mouth has been closed shut. Pursed shut, should I say.
Nemea
Punch shut.
nods.
Very well. And Poot will now wait for them all to be called in.
Okay. So, whilst you're talking to him, it's like whilst you're talking to them is when the sergeant is speaking with Darius, and once you guys are finished, the sergeant brings Darius over and still has a hand on his shoulder, and says, "Right, well, Darius would like to speak with all of you."
Very well.
You know, to be honest, I'm just going to let him speak. To be honest, 'cause I personally don't understand why he's doing what he is, but there we go. So Darius sort of like he's just like shuffling his feet a little bit. He's got his hands in front of him, sort of just like bringing his hands together. He looks a bit embarrassed, really. It's like, well, I do much regret many of the interactions that sort of happened that have got us to this particular impasse.
Nemea kind of touches her ear just out of instinct, just to make sure it's still there.
The sergeant told me that he made you aware of events that led to my emotional states, and I do want to wholeheartedly apologise to you, young lady, for the and he's like just like taps his ear. I think yes, the thing. But what I would like my idea is if we all agree to no pressing of charges in any ways. I won't press even any charge against your stout companion there, though I will be banning him from my shop, though the rest of you are welcome to come along, and as much as I would be able to as a form of apology, if I can, without too much risk to myself, which may not be for some time yet, as I am still recovering from the previous incident. Financially, I would like to offer some form of discount or compensation if possible, though I do need you to understand that it may not be for some time yet until I'm able to regather enough capital to support such an action financially.
Darius, you are a better man than I thought you were. Thank you.
Roland
Rio,
Hammer.
please.
Roland Hammer would like step forward and just be like, so.
Before Roland Hammer gets a chance to speak, Pook will put a hand on his shoulder. Roland Hammer, remember, I will do the talking.
Roland Hammer will be like, hi, you do the talking, and then step forward to speak to Darius. And just be like,
Oh my god.
just be like, so I am no longer allowed in your shop.
That would be correct. Yes, young dwarf. I'm with your other companions there. The scuffle we had. I feel that we were. I feel that we were all equally emotionally charged and upset by the various things that had happened to us, and I feel like the disagreement that the three of us had was as much fault of all of us, and I feel that certainly the three of us can come to some form of agreement and arrangement. However, you were trying to rob me.
Roland Hammer's like stroking his beard, giving like Darius like 1,000-yard stare, slightly nodding, not listening to anything. And he's just like, what do you need from us? Because these guys probably want to be in your shop. I have no need to go in your shop, so I'm not bothered. But if you need some stuff, surely we could probably grab it and make some sort of arrangement.
Roland Hammer, he's going to let the rest of us in the shop.
Aye. But he's giving you discount. What are you giving him?
I think that what he is trying to say is that he would like to make it up to the men. Discount aside, wants to get him supplies as a goodwill gesture. Is this correct, dwarf?
Aye. The tall man human gets it.
I should strangle you.
So I feel that perhaps I was not being entirely clear. Young Master Dwarf, and he's like he looks over at the sergeant briefly and says like, I really don't like you, and I don't trust you in my premises. I don't trust you not to use some form of bringing me supplies as a cover to try and further rob or swindle my store. I do not trust you.
And Roland Hammer will smile like a really big grin and say, let me reiterate, I have no intention of visiting your crappy shop.
Can I grab him by the collar, please?
But I will get you supplies because I'm nice. And we owe that to you.
Well, I don't want any business with you, regardless. You could bring me fire salts from the northern mountains, and I would be uninterested. I do not trust you. Your companions, I am willing to come to an agreement with.
You realise it's for them, not me.
I will make a deal with them if I need to make a deal. He looks over at the sergeant. Is he stupid? Did he fall on the way in?
Right. I believe we've come to the end
Darius is
of
like
these.
getting a bit confused.
Yeah, so Pook will step now between Roland Hammer and Darius. I believe we've come to the end of these proceedings, and the proprietor of the alchemy premises has come indeed to his senses and has definitely understood the entire situation as clearly as one can. I thank you for your understanding. We, of course, accept the terms that you have put forward, and as long as all business is accounted for, Sergeant and Captain, we would like to take our leave.
So the captain's been stayed at his desk the entire time. Basically, you know that he's been aware of what's been going on. 'Cause you've seen him like looking up and like his little ears twitching. He's definitely one of those captains who knows what's going on. The sergeant has been the one who's been handling it, and you get the feeling that the sergeant is very much a sort of like a Sam Vime sort of character. It's like he's going to make stuff happen. Doesn't really care for anybody, but he's just like he's been doing the job long enough. He knows what's really going on, and it gets things taken care of. The sergeant opens up the cell so that Nimriel and Roland Hammer can come out of it. And he seems, you get the feeling that he was kind of hoping that at the very least Roland Hammer was going to get charged with something. For the record, it's because he's a knob, isn't he? I actually rolled up some dice just to see whether or not you guys were going to get charged, and the way it all worked out, actually I feel is quite poetic and rather nice. It was Roland Hammer is not welcome at the shop, but the rest of the spiders are okay.
Pook, and I mean, me as a player and also Pook is kind of disappointed because I feel I had a fairly good legal case ready.
I must admit, I'm a little bit disappointed with the way that it went because I was hoping that there was because I was thinking like, let's see if I didn't want to just like railroad and be like, what if he's gonna get charged? I thought no, let's have a let's have a bit of a thing here, and it was a good solid chance that Roland Hammer was going to end up being charged with attempted theft.
I am surprised and grateful is what I am.
Okay.
Thank you, Lord Jesus.
So I will just I'll speak to. I presume the sergeant that is getting everything ready so everyone else can leave. So I will speak to Darius by himself. You're an alchemist, yes?
Yes, that's right. Yes. If you would be able to, because I'm guessing you've gone off to one side, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, that's right. Oh, that reminds me actually. I believe I can carry out a couple more tests. If you would, later this afternoon, early evening, if you would send your tiefling companion by my shop, I may be able to give her a more accurate reading, or potentially even a way to actually undo the effect of whatever imbibement is afflicting her.
That sounds agreeable, and with your permission, being someone who is somewhat familiar with alchemy, but certainly has an interest of the arcane property of things, I would like to assist if possible.
Well, it is just a few tests that I'll be allowing them to run. A couple of experiments I'll be allowing to run their course. I'm afraid there is nothing really to assist with in that regard. But I appreciate the thought and the offer.
Very well. May I at least attend to observe?
Certainly, it'll just be a case of sitting there watching some little Calcimans and alembics going away.
Fantastic. I feel there is much that I may learn from you. And I hope the reverse is also true.
Okay, now.
Well, that certainly will. If I will be heading straight back to my shop, though I won't be opening the store as I'm still a little bit stressed and certainly tired, and I do need to like I said, carry out these experiments, which I feel should be taking my entire focus at this time. Though, having said that, if you're going to be there with me, if you're able to keep an eye on the experiments as they go, I can keep the shop open. That would be quite useful, actually. If you would accompany me to the shop?
Hang on a minute. Is this why he blows the fucking shop up and finishes the other fucker's job?
I would certainly be willing to oblige, although I am aware of alchemy and its processes and what have you. My experience of carrying out a lot of the practical applications is not as great as I would like, so I would relish the chance to do so.
Yeah, no, like I said, for the most part, it's just going to be a case of observing, and I'll point out which bottles need to be moved if they start to smoke and what have you.
Wonderful. We shall see you later at your property. Now, I bid you good day, and thank you again for your understanding.
I feel that it was the most sensible way to resolve the scenario.
Certainly was more efficient than other ways.
As a DM, I was really, really hoping to get Roland Hammer charged with attempted burglary. Attempted theft.
Cheers,
Attempted
man.
theft.
Thank you.
Of course, I don't make the decisions for what NPCs do, but I've got a fairly good inkling that if that had happened, it wouldn't have stuck. I had enough, I think.
Yeah, it would have been interesting at least for a bit of fun, but yeah. But I think
Cool.
but also as a DM, I am happy with the way it's panned out. Because I've got a funny feeling that between your squad, it's going to give you a little bit of fun and play as well. I sense.
Okay.
So Dara says, well, I'm going to head back to my store now, and I shall see you there as soon as you're able.
Wonderful. Pook will rejoin his companions and look at them all. Pook does not look happy. Right. Let us leave. We will return to the Blue Stallion and discuss this further there.
Can we pop by a shop first?
Oh,
All right.
Nemea will she'll kind of tentatively approach Darius and say, "Thank you, and I'm sorry."
I too am sorry, my dear. It was a very rash action on my part, and I can only apologise. And as I said, for you and your friend, your female friend there, when I am able to, if I am able to, I would like to offer some form of discount or something at a later time. But I do not know how long that will be. It may be yet some months. It depends on entirely how well my business goes over the coming weeks.
She nods her head and turns to walk out with the rest of them. She will give a nod of thanks to Jason and the captain.
They're just talking to each other, and Jason sort of waves a little bit to you. He's just basically standing there with arms folded, talking to the captain, who's reading through all of the statements, which are all very brief statements, as obviously on that, because actually it realistically was quite a simple scenario in that regard.
Fucking hell.
So complicated for us, and they're just like not even in the top 5.
I really appreciate that the corruption ended at fucking Grunt.
The corruption.
Yeah. I really appreciate that.
we're going back to the Blue Stallion then, yeah?
Yeah.
Nemea's gonna go sit in her bed. She ain't moving.
Right, okay. Are we back at the Blue Stallion, or?
Unless you guys have any plans to go anywhere else, yes, you can be back at the Blue Stallion without any issue at all.
So I think Roland Hammer's going to complain about not being able to go to the shop.
Oh, Roland Hammer's
yeah.
going to complain about everything.
So
Roland
He's
Hammer,
trying to
aka
rhyme
whiny
so
little
well.
bitch.
Pook's going to call the meeting, and seeing as Nemea is confining herself to a bed, that's where
I've
the meeting
I've
will be.
just realised, was Drokash just left outside the police station like a
Yeah.
dog left outside a shop, just leashed up to a lamppost?
Yes, he was.
I've totally just noticed. To be fair, knowing Drokash, probably for the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I came to the same conclusion.
Okay. So Pook has called a meeting around Nemea's bed, essentially.
Whoa, no.
That's-
Nope, not happening. That is not happening.
That's not awkward at all.
That's definitely,
I mean-
will not let you in that room.
Okay.
Oh,
How rude.
So I assume Pook's going. Is he going to call the meeting before they get to the inn, or once
inn.
they're at the inn?
at the inn.
Okay. Yeah, Nemea's probably going to be in her bed. So she'll just say, "You can tell me about it later," and she'll walk to her room or the shared room, and yeah, she's going to. She's going to sit and not move.
Okay. Well, I don't. Pook will then talk to the party and ask them to gather in his dwelling then, because he doesn't want this to be a public meeting.
Nimriel nods and follows.
Just imagine that the tavern audio is then slightly muted by the sound of closed doors. I'll just turn it down a little bit.
Oh god, I had it turned down. I could hear it earlier. I really don't know. Oh, because I could hear it through your stream.
Okay. Now, we have multiple problems here, and none of these problems are to do with locks, theft, or fighting.
Nice.
When I joined the Silver Talons, when you joined the Silver Talons, we came together as a party, as a band, for the betterment of another, for companionship, and to protect each other. That is something you did not do. And in fact, you did quite the opposite. There are two problems with that. First of all, we are a member of a respected adventuring guild. If you all intend to remain a member of that adventuring guild, then I suggest you check yourself before taking your actions next time. Because let me tell you, if this had gone any further, I suspect that none of us would anymore be a part of the Silver Talon Adventuring Guild, and I'm not willing to let any of us put anyone else in jeopardy in that manner again. Is that understood?
I don't understand. Are you telling us off?
I'm glad that you've grasped that so far, Nimriel.
I genuinely feel like that might actually require an insight check to see if Nimriel knows what's going on.
That was her being a snotty bitch.
Oh,
She
okay.
knew exactly what he was getting at.
Okay.
Secondly, and more importantly, the biggest problem here is to each other. We've gone through much so far, and we have come through it because of each other.
You listen to the man.
We have here one of our number who has gone through something that must have been incredibly traumatizing. And it seems to me that instead of truly supporting this person, made it worse.
I don't believe what I'm hearing. You were busy in your book.
This is absolutely correct. However,
Hang on, are you taking yourself off as well?
oh, absolutely. I am not above reproach, as I was not there. However, I don't feel that I should need to be there for you to all behave yourselves correctly.
Maybe that's exactly why you're there.
Nimriel slaps him over the back of the head.
Hey, what the fuck is that for?
You need to control yourself.
No.
Man, you hit me.
This is exactly what I'm talking about. Now, from this point forward, Rollenhammer,
Aye.
please, if you can, keep your fingers to yourself. Do not attempt any more theft, especially not when with us all together. Your actions, now we have accepted you into our band, affect all of us, not just yourself anymore.
Alright then.
That
Good.
includes not taking alcohol with you on the streets.
Ain't close taking alcohol, you just sleep.
Right.
It's just biting her lip.
There is nothing more that needs to, there is nothing more that needs to be said. You're dismissed.
Excuse me?
What?
And Poop will walk off.
Nimriel's gonna pick him up with one hand.
Is there a problem, Nimriel?
I just imagine
I thought-
Poot basically just hanging there, just like, yes.
I don't
Literally.
believe anybody here made you the captain of this ragtag bunch. If you're going to take responsibility like the rest of us, don't think that you can dismiss us for a second. We're all capable of ending. She just lets him go.
Sorry if I caused you any offence, but it seemed that someone needed to take control of this band. I do not wish to be the captain, and if you wish to be the captain and take responsibility, then by all means I shall not stop you. However, it seemed there was only one person who remained cool throughout this whole thing. Granted, I was not there,
Yeah, aye, that was Grokash.
but listen.
Grokash clap.
This is something that I mean dearly, so please listen carefully. All become very dear to me. I care about you all very much, and I see you very much as the clan that I once lost. So I do not wish for us to fall apart. Will not let that happen.
Okay, Nimriel's gonna have like a sort of confused, kind of weird look on her face that looks kind of like it's going from angry back to confused, back to angry, and then she's just gonna ruffle Pook's hair, sort of like slightly push him away after she's done it, and just walk out of the room. This
DK,
is
did
too
I get my
soft for
wine
me.
back?
You did not get your wine back.
God damn it.
Yeah, so Pook at this point is going to do what he does best when he needs to unwind. He's going to pull out a book.
And have a wank.
What?
You knew it was coming.
Thanks for breaking that tension. Thank you. Yeah, great. Fucking great stuff.
Hey, he never
Brilliant.
said what book. It was it's
The Kama
What's the
Sutra.
Argonian maid?
The Gnomish Kama Sutra.
No, he's already been through that one twice.
It's a pop-up book for gnomes.
Hey!
Oh my god.
How the
Oh my
pop-up Kama
God.
Sutra. That,
You are disgusting.
It's an old book. It can stand up by itself.
Oh, shit.
the pop-up book of mimics was possibly the slightly more entertaining pop-up book that you guys have already encountered. I feel.
Right, cool. Yeah, so Pook's going to sit on his bed and he's going to study his spellbook.
Cool. So it is your Saturday. Let's say it's the Saturday afternoon at this point now. Is there anything that the party would like to do, or any other further conversations that they would like to have for the rest of their day? Anything they've got in mind?
Yeah, I would like to explain to Nimriel that she still doesn't have any armor.
When is he exclaiming this? As she was leaving the room or during
Yeah, I'm gonna
the
go
stay?
to Nimriel and explain you don't have any armor.
As he said, like, okay, alright, okay. Where are we? In the hall?
Yes,
Nothing?
yes, in the hall.
She just looks down at herself. Like, I think at the moment she's kind of a bit wound up still. Still on her cooldown, like, come down. Pook probably just infuriates her, but doesn't anger her, and she's a bit confused because of what the hell he just did. That was actually quite surprising.
Sounds like love, mate.
Okay, weirdo. She
So,
just looks back at him. Yes, of course not. I'm supposed to wait until tomorrow. Are you enjoying the view, little man?
Aye, every time there's a small breeze, I can see what you ate. How about we get you some armor?
She's just staring blankly at him. I think she's waiting for him to keep speaking.
Yeah, no, there was a question, not a... There's a bit of a staring competition, like, eh?
Continue? What do you mean?
We should get you some armor.
I'm certainly not... Fucking Jesus Christ, that accent. I'm certainly not going to steal it. What do you mean?
Oh, we can make it, as long as we have the materials.
I don't have the materials. As you can tell, I am wearing very little right now. In fact, I don't even have my sword.
Then let's go get them. And he's like heading, like nodding towards the door and the group. We can make it if we get materials.
And exactly where would you like to get these materials?
I don't know. Buy them, melt them from the rock itself. Come on.
Are you trying to make up for the fact that I lost my arm because of you?
Well, if you
I
don't want
haven't
any
forgotten.
armor, suit yourself. I'm off to go make something.
I take it that you don't get much time to speak to people.
I
see
take
where
it.
you're trying to take this, but socially it is not acceptable to be this way.
Well, do you want armor or no?
This is precisely my point.
Is that a yeah?
Oh, you infuriate me, you small man! Go get your armor.
It's not my armor, it's your armor.
Oh, for fuck's sake. You know, it's actually hard to be somebody else
No,
in
it's not.
situations like this. It really is.
Right.
Jesus,
So, I'll go get the. Are you not coming? We can grab everybody else. We'll go get some. Sure, we can get you something.
Where is Grokash?
I was just
Wait,
laughing. With,
doesn't Nemea have a set of armor on order?
Don't you mean Nimriel?
Yeah, Nimriel. Doesn't Nimriel have a set
Yeah,
of
for
armor on
tomorrow to be delivered to our guild.
order? Is it
What
actually-
armor is it?
Is it Splint?
I think
No,
it's,
isn't
I think it's either splint mail or scale mail. Splint mail, I think.
It'll say on my thing. Hang on one sec.
Yeah, you should have. You should have made an. I did ask you guys to make a note.
Splint
anything
mail.
Yeah, I thought it was
Splint
splint mail you haven't made.
There is Splint mail.
I think I've got some steel or iron. So what?
You
What,
haven't-
is this him going for his little backpack now?
I don't think you've got enough resources to make a full set.
Oh, but getting some body armor. Yeah, I've got like 7 iron ingots, so I think that's probably where I'm going to head out.
What, is he gonna go out and do some mining or something?
Well, I'm just going to like be on the prowl. I'm going to ask like
He's going to come back with
Try and
somebody's
get
shop. The actual stall.
trying to get the group together on a bit of an iron hunt so we can get Nimriel decent.
Right. Okay. So Nimriel's got some armor being made. It's going to be delivered to the guild. It will be at the guild hall
tomorrow.
Well, it's not necessarily going to be at the guild hall tomorrow, but it will be at the guild hall in a timely fashion enough that it will be ready for you when you actually need it in terms of going on your excursion to the examination dungeon. And Roland Hammer, who currently has 7 iron ingots, wants to head out and try and find some more resources to put together a suit of armor
For somebody.
for somebody in the space of just about a day.
Get the resources, and see we can start building it, but you can get the resources, sure.
Alright, okay, I'll continue speaking as Nimriel.
It takes a lot of resources to make a set of armor.
What is that?
Nothing.
Alright, I'll continue speaking. Look, I understand where you're coming from, but if you really want to make it up to somebody, you should just ask them how you can fix the problems you have caused.
Nah.
Nah.
It is taking me an enormous amount of capacity to not strangle you right now. Why are you so much like the little man in the room beside you? But it's so different.
I think, is it a height thing?
I'm starting to think so. Do I
Maybe.
hate short people? I don't think so.
I think you do. So I'm gonna go try and collect some resources. I guess I'm trying to go downstairs and ask the black.
She's just gonna shake her head. She's not gonna stop him. That was her attempt at stopping him from going out on some magical journey.
So I finally realised most definitely what Roland Hammer's alignment is, which for some strange reason wasn't put onto his character sheet, but it is there now. Okay.
Chaotic stupid.
Can you say chaotic stupid?
Yeah.
For fuck's sake.
No, just true stupid. It's fine.
Oh wow.
Can't even tell
Oh,
me.
thanks, guys.
His accent changed.
Oh wow, thanks guys, you're amazing. Thanks guys, yeah. Like the Owen Wilson dwarf.
Nimriel's gonna go look for Grokash.
So he'd be downstairs by this point, because he left with when Pook left.
She can walk over and sit in front of him, actually, beside him. Thank you for getting the small man, even though he's very annoying.
He has his uses. Sometimes. Pour another drink and offer you one.
I don't really drink, but in this case, she'll snatch one. Wait, I'm not so sure she should do this. She'll just stare down at it. What is this?
I was like point to the bottle of wine.
Where'd you get the bottle of wine?
I had some.
Back to prison!
No, are we at the fucking inn?
Would you like to retcon in you going up to the bar and buying a bottle of wine?
Is that something? Fine.
Well, yeah. Can I not just have a bottle of wine from the inn, please? No.
It didn't seem super important to be like, hey.
You should write it as Badger, write it with the /me thing.
Yeah, all you got to do is just make a note of the fact that you're planning on doing that sort of thing for it, or like it's when
super important.
you know
so I was just
when Ty said that Nimriel was coming down to find Grokash, you could have this. Oh well, Grokash would have gone up to the bar and got So let's. Are you getting some at top shelf or bottom shelf?
Nah, fuck it. I'm getting water.
You're just getting water.
Feeding her water. Really?
Nah,
just giving her water, telling her it's vodka.
Just the shittiest stuff that's there.
Alright,
If he's going for like a bottle of house wine, then that'd just be like $2
Yeah.
for a bottle of house wine.
I thought you were going to say it was Coors Light. Shit stuff there.
Weak Nat's piss.
Uh,
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So you get yourself two silver for like a bottle of the house wine, and it's not that bad. It's actually quite a nice blackberry wine. It's not of the sort of quality or vintage that demands a high price point. It's it's a sort of like the sort of wine that farmers make. Wine, not grain alcohol. Just to be perfect. You're not getting moonshine.
I was going to say, is it not moonshine then?
No. This is
Farmer's fuel.
No. This isn't red diesel.
Oh fucking hell.
No, it's this is just like it is a nice quality blackberry wine. Which if you've ever had blackberry wine, it's very, very nice, very sweet.
I haven't.
Yeah,
I've had very little alcohol.
Well,
Actually.
it can be very sweet anyway.
The wine I tried was bitter as shit.
There are some shit wines out there. To be
Holy
fair,
fucking
there is a certain element of needing to have a palate accustomed to such flavors in order to fully appreciate them. Which is that if you're not exposed to certain things in the right order, then you won't necessarily grow to appreciate where some of the nuances and flavor come from. My God, am I posh?
Bye.
Fuck, Jesus. Right. Okay. So, you guys are in the tavern.
Yeah.
Would you want to take a little 5-minute break here to get your heads in order, or do you want to carry on?
I'm happy for a 5-minute break.
Do a little 5-minute break. Cool.
Yeah, sure.
So we're going to be back in about 5 minutes, possibly a little bit longer, depending on things and stuff. But yes, we shall see you shortly. Let me just set the timer. And we're back. Totally wasn't Roland Hammer's fault for not being back on time. Not like there was a timer or shit, you know. Not like there was information available.
I apologise.
Well, we've got to give you a bit of a hard time about it, haven't we? I mean, them's is the rules of being in a game together. So, yes, we've got Grokash and Nimriel are having a little drink together. They're just having a little drink together, so it's not going to be like carousing or anything at all. We've got Pook, who is reading a spell book. Roland Hammer is heading out to try and find some resources. And Namir is, I'm going to say, sulking in her room?
She is sulking in her room.
Question
She's
mark?
thinking. She's sulking. She's thinking.
Okay.
She's making sure all of her body parts are attached. She'll probably at
That,
some
why
point
does that
actually fall
sound
asleep.
so dirty?
Oh my god.
Why does that sound so dirty? That's just mental.
I think that's because you.
She's MOTing her body, is it?
That's.
I don't even. What does that mean? What does that mean?
I don't know what that means.
Oh, sorry. It's like a
it's,
road-ready vehicle test kind of thing.
What was
The
it?
service.
Yeah, that's
it's
the one.
like,
Oh, rough.
yeah.
I wouldn't
At
say
one point,
she's
I really
getting
wanted
that,
to stop.
getting that vigorous with it. She's not popping parts off and putting them back on. She's trying to keep everything where it is.
Well, I can fix you for now, but you'll be back within 6 months.
Oh, dear.
I see what your problem is. You got a cat for a mechanic.
So, yeah, let's pick back up with Grokash and Nimriel. I think probably the best place we can pick up to begin with.
Okay, so Nimriel takes a sip of the alcohol provided after not really getting an answer that made her feel safe at all. And then she screws her face up because it's very sweet. You said it was very sweet, right?
Blackberry wine can be very sweet. It is more often sweet than not.
I never really did like these things. But I'll drink it all. This was only a small amount you gave her, right?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
a standard wine glass sort of measure would be absolutely fine. It's not going to cause
Cool.
any issues or anything at all.
Yeah. She just
Blackberry
drinks
wine
that.
doesn't tend to be that alcoholic.
He's just waiting out, so he's not like getting drunk. He's just chilling.
Just chilling, like he was outside the guard post.
Shut up. Meanies.
Nimriel sort of just, I guess it's obvious that she's trying to buy time, but then eventually she sort of taps her hands on the table and just lifts her head up. I'm going to apologize to Nemea now. Hopefully she doesn't punch me in the face. And she swings her legs out from the side of the chair and gets up and walks out, going upstairs.
Grokash, as you walk away, Grokash will wish you luck.
She just waves her hand over her shoulder. Really, Dakota? Really?
It was the best picture I could find. I'm not a My Little Pony fan, but that was the best picture I could find. That didn't involve like two people.
Wow.
You suck.
What? Because I'm not a My Little Pony fan?
What?
Yeah, it's definitely it. That's Badger's thing, you know?
Yeah, I'm
Badge the brony.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to escape that title now. To be honest, it's alliterative.
Badger Brony.
I would be surprised if
I love
anyone
it.
in, like 20 minutes. But...
Badge the brony.
Damn.
I'm gonna write it in my campaign notes just because you said that.
Wow. Okay,
Do it.
so Nemiel's going to knock on the door. She's not going to just enter straight away, even if it is part of her room too.
Nemea will respond with it's kind of a garbled sound. It's not really
What?
understandable. It's not a no, is what she can take from it.
Yeah, she's gonna open the door slowly. And sort of step in halfway.
It's like, hello?
Anybody home?
I'm glad that's not your character voice.
I can't feel the spring cleaning.
Oh my god.
No, no.
What's happening?
She's on her bed. She's got her back turned to Nimriel's bed, but she's not. She's just laying there basically.
Mhm.
But she does have covers drawn up around her neck.
Nemiel's gonna walk over and carefully sit on the edge of Nemia's bed. And just sit quietly for a moment. I guess she's got a back. What is a back face to the center of the room? Like,
I
Where the
guess
dog- yeah.
it depends on the positioning, but yeah, sure. Let's just go with that.
so I guess she's gonna sort of just sit behind her.
I mean, like one way or
On
another,
the edge
she's
of the
facing the wall. You know, is what I'm understanding of this.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going from the picture you posted now.
Oh, okay, that worked. That worked.
I mean, point of reference and all that.
Right.
And she's just gonna sit quietly for a moment, start thinking what she could say.
Nemia's gonna kind of shift. She's pretty sure it's an embryo, but she's just gonna verify with a glance.
The lack of armor should give it away, right? She's got the
Well,
lightest step.
Theoretically, it could be Pook. It's definitely not rolling.
Yeah, true, actually, yeah, it's true. But you'd be able to smell books. That's his cologne.
Yes.
That's
So
pretty
regular men wear
seductive, I'll
musk.
have
He
to
wears
say.
must.
He's got it branded. It's books and pooks.
Nah.
I had to make a bad joke, you see. Anyway, right back to
Certainly
it.
did. You certainly did.
It's okay, you can stab me later.
When she sees it's Nimriel, she says, "When I was little, I hid my tail, and I was ashamed of being a tiefling. And then
What?
she falls silent.
When I was little, I didn't even know that I was an Aasimar. I found out that I was adopted. That is how I knew what I was. But
Quietly under her breath, she says, "Lucky fucking you."
I don't dislike your tale, and I don't think that you should ever hide it.
Do you know what it's like to have all your body parts off? And she kind of hesitates after that, and she says, "Well, you lost an arm, but it wasn't the fucking rest of your body."
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. I didn't realize you were in such distress. But I do thank you for my arm. I guess without you guys, I would be missing an arm right now. And that I would not appreciate. But on that note, keep the tail. And don't hide it. I certainly would not like to hide my arm.
The bed sheet wiggles a bit, but that's about it before she speaks. You know, we really fucking suck as a group.
Whoa.
Count yourself lucky that you weren't in the next room over. Your small friend tried to give us a lecture.
We probably need one. It sounds like she's trying to focus her attention on something else.
I think we'll be fine. Once we have a common objective. But you know, your tail and my wings. I do have a story for another time. But your tail is important to me. People like you.
I never got to ask about your tail.
Tail. Retcon! Retcon your note!
I never got to ask about your wings. That was pretty freaky.
They're a price I paid for my friends. They weren't my friends at the time, but they became that way. People like me. Physically like me. They are not always so nice. I do appreciate that you want to hide your tail because people value you differently when they see these things. But I do not see it that way. And people like that, I do not like.
I learned a few years ago, I basically realized that, you know, fuck my parents, fuck my heritage. I am a better person than they are, and I don't hide my tail anymore. I don't hide my horns anymore. I want my family to know that I'm a better person than they think I am, despite this. And you see the blanket lift, and she kind of motions with her hand down her body, particularly at her tails and her rump, and then down to her hooves, although most of it's still covered.
Nimrel sort of just smiles and leans over and just whispers, "At least I think Pook appreciates your body parts."
She actually her lips twitch. She doesn't completely smile, but it's obvious she's trying to hide the smile.
Shut up, man. Don't make it something weird.
Yeah, I'm the one making this weird.
Hey, man.
I'm gonna have to like put like you know, I mean this definitely ain't gonna get monetized. Jesus,
Whoa! What do you mean, man?
too raunchy.
Hell no.
It's a
Haven't done anything
bonding
weird.
moment.
One girl, two horns. You know, it's it's fine.
Wow. Wow. She pulled her tail off.
Hmm.
Off.
She goes to sit up slightly. She's not sitting up completely, but more leaning on one elbow. And she says,
Pays
The
me like
man-
one of your French.
"Oh my God, shut your face, DM. Shut your face."
Sorry, low hanging fruit. I couldn't resist.
The man who taught me most of what I know, his name was Trog Blacktooth. He was the quartermaster for my family. He'd look at me now, and he wouldn't be too happy.
Why is this?
I let my emotions get in the way. I attacked a teammate. I
You
basically. She stopped.
You mean that you attacked me?
Well, you are my teammate.
It's okay. I understand where you're coming from. This is why I did not hit you back.
You didn't, did you?
Of course not. I was only trying to tease you. I didn't want to upset you.
You also got pissed at Darius.
She just... I don't even know the correct words for it. She scrunches her face up. And looks away.
Demi actually smiles at that.
Leave it alone, or I'll pull your nose off, too.
She kind of tenses, and she can physically feel it, but
Popping off.
no, the shift in the bed, but then she relaxes again, and she sits up and says, I'm not drinking again ever." She sounds very serious about it.
Until the next time.
yeah, essentially. Actually, I just had the first drink I have had in years. I did not like the taste. Kurokash is drinking that stuff downstairs now.
Well, he would.
We should enjoy the last day here. Do we not return tomorrow?
I'm just gonna maybe eat something and let this shit wear off. I don't wanna go out and freak out and lose my shit again like some fucking 5-year-old.
You don't mean
Basically-
physically, do you?
Both. I mean, I don't trust my body. I'm
I
not
think
gonna
that
risk
is the
it.
right thing to do. I will make sure nobody bothers you in your room now. She goes to stand up and make her way to the door.
What was this meeting Pook was wanting to have?
And Nimrel sighs. I don't know if he even meant it the way that he said it, but he began to lecture the three of us. It did not at all sound like he was aiming it at himself, despite the way he worded it. Essentially, what he is saying is the same thing you have said. That we need to behave more like a team and members of a prestigious guild. I only don't appreciate that he thinks that he should be speaking this way to us as if he is untouched by this poor luck. But he means well.
She nods her head, but she doesn't say anything, and she just kind of lays back down.
Yeah, that's it. She walks out. Back down to Grokash.
He's just eating like lunch at this point, so still kind of wondering what we're doing for the what the fuck's happening in his life, kind of thing.
What the fuck's going on?
Existential crisis.
All of the fighting and none of his involvement. He's very confused.
The Dungeoneers.
Yeah, largely.
We just got raided by my darling Gem, who's just finished up her stream and come to say hello to us. So thank you for that one, baby. And well, welcome everybody. You've joined us at a time where the party have managed to, whilst they got arrested, no charges were pressed, and it all kind of went okay. But there's been some emotional turmoil, and definitely some emotional growth. Yeah, we'll see what else happens. So, who else was in the thing? Because Pook is still just reading his book, yeah? Right. Grokash is enjoying his lunch. Nimriel has joined him for lunch. Nimir is still having a gentle little sulk in her room. So I think the only person who's not actually currently at the Blue Stallion, the tavern where the party is currently bedding down, would be Rolandhammer, who I believe was heading out to try and find himself some gear, or not so much gear, but resources. So, what is Rolandhammer's plan in that regard? Let's pick up with him.
Rolandhammer wants to head down to where he got the iron smelted from the scimitars in the first place. To little dwarven sort of station that was, I don't remember the name of it, but I've just got it down as Pen Pusher.
That was most likely going to be either the Pangolins Hide or True Strikes. They're the two smithing shops that the parties have encountered currently.
Yeah, so it'd be the one closest to the Blue Stallion. Is that True Strikes?
They're both about the same sort of distance away. They're within like 2 minutes walk of each other, so you can go to either one. I mean, True Strikes, there is a hill dwarf who works there and owns that establishment. I'm
thinking it probably was True Strikes, because I remember that's where you know what? No, I don't. Ignore me.
Thank you.
Yeah, the Pangolins Hide has got. Well, Pangolins Hide has the dwarf with the surname Jas. The dwarf of Clan Jas.
That's the place we went into, and you were like trying to butt in to their business, and they were just like, "What? What are you doing here?" Oh, yeah, sure. If you want to help, go over there.
It was there then. It was there.
Yeah, it's
It was definitely there. So yeah, I'm gonna head down to there, to the dwarf commonly known as Pen Pusher. I'm gonna reintroduce myself, if he's still around.
No, he's there. He's at the forge working away on shaping a piece of metal which is meant to be it appears to be forming either a shield or a breastplate. Kind of hard to tell at the moment exactly how it's going to end up.
Yeah, so Rolandhammer's going to walk right up to the forge, right where he's working, and just stand beside him. Just looking and admiring his handiwork. Then he's going to be like, so Do you happen to know where I can find some materials?
So he's just working away at the forge rod. There's like sparks flying off the metal as he's to all intents and purposes just panel beating for his purposes on this bit of metal to shape it around to the piece to the shape that he needs of it. And he just like doesn't even look up. He's like, "Yep."
Nice. I'm looking for some material for possibly a breastplate bigger than myself. I've got 7 iron ingots. I probably need about 20 odd more. You wouldn't happen to have any spare, would you?
Nope.
What'll it cost me?
Doesn't matter. I've got nothing spare.
Where can I get some spare? And what'll it cost me? Roughly.
That'll be down to the trader you speak to. You want to go down to the docks where all the traders get their stuff from the porters. You better have an order ready. They won't just sell to anybody. Everything comes in as per order.
Good to know. If I pay a little bit more, can I get it straight away?
There we go. Down to the trader, nothing to do with me.
Righto. And
One
then,
small finger.
yeah, I can see this happening. Yeah, so he's going to be like, and which trader exactly?
Down at the docks.
It's a big dock.
He's like, finally just looks up from his work and goes like, then follow your nose to the smell of hot metal. It'll smell like a smithy.
Aye, I can do that. And then might as well go down to the docks.
Okay. As you can head off and on your way for that. So you get down to the docks. So when you're down at the docks, it is pretty noisy, to be honest. This is like the middle of the day, so there's a lot of shit going on there. Just gonna turn that down a touch. And you know that there's porters rushing back and forth with hand carts full of varying amounts of goods, and all sorts of people calling out for their wares, it doesn't take you too much work too much effort to have a bit of a look around and find where all of the ships that are carrying smithing materials, the more industry side of trading, all of their goods are being offloaded to one end of the docks. There's a lot of stuff. There's 2 ships at the moment that are being unloaded, and they unload them by basically the ships are big heavy ships. They don't actually come all the way into docks. What they have is they have smaller like rafts and little boats that go out to the ships. Stuff gets lifted down onto them, and then that takes them back into the docks. So there's a lot of these little cutters just running out back and forth to the ships carrying the stock. So you can see all of that, and there's quite a few like foreman type characters that are standing around with clipboards, and they're very clearly that they're shouting out various orders to the different porters who are moving stuff around. These some of the porters are then running off into the city with their carts. Some of them are just going back and forth between the actual like the the jetty of the docks to various warehouses. It's a very, very busy, bustling area of the city.
Okay, I'll want to go over to the porter and instead of saying anything, just like tug on his jacket and be like, "Hello."
Yeah, the porter just like brushes you off. Like, I'm busy. I've got stuff to do, and he just like carries on going off and on his way.
I'm just gonna pull a little bit harder and go, "Oi,
No,
I'm
he's
looking for
off.
Smithy."
He's gone. He's off. He's off.
All right, so he's picked up on, has he? All right, brilliant.
Yeah.
So again, it's gonna be a bounce around to the next
porters are probably not a good starting point for this. You may want to go and speak to the foreman instead.
I might have not phrased that. The guy with the clipboard
Yeah.
is the guy I'm going to.
Oh yeah.
And
Go
pulling
speak
his-
to him. It's like it was looked down. He looked down. You're like, yes. How can I help?
All right, I'm looking for a Smithy, and like holds his hand out to like his own head height. Is around this tall. Told me a way to buy a resource.
Right. Well, have you? What have you ordered? Where's your invoice? I'll see where it's coming in.
For argument's sake, let's say I misplaced it. How do I get a new one?
You would probably need to speak to whoever you placed the order with to confirm the order again with them.
Right. Can I place an order with you?
If you go and speak to there'll be a gentleman in an office in that warehouse over there. If you go and speak with him, you can place an order. It'll probably take, I don't know, a week or so for it to come through, depending on what stock's like.
Nice. Well, thank you very much. You've been no help at all, and I'm going to go to the warehouse.
Okie dokie.
Oh, fucking hell.
So yeah, walk up to the first person I see at the warehouse and be like, Smith told me to go to a guy, another guy, come to you. I need to place an order.
Certainly, sir. What is it you're looking for? He's got like a lot. Basically, he's actually sitting at a desk as each porter comes in, he checks their order for it and then points them off to various places in the warehouse. And there are other warehouse operatives that are moving things around. They're grabbing boxes, and you see this is a very it seems like a very well-oiled machine sort of thing going on with this.
I'm just gonna pull out like a little bag, count the money, take out some money, and then put it back in my bag, and then dump the bag on the table. And say, this is around, I don't know, 200 gold. How much iron would that get me?
Well, when you have an agreeable reputation, you can most people can expect to get a pound of iron for a silver coin. If you have a favourable reputation with a particular stockist, they may be able to offer you better than that. If you do not have a favourable reputation, then you may not get as much as that. So 200 gold pieces, that equates to roughly 2,000 silver pieces, so approximately 2,000 pounds of iron, 2 tons of iron.
2 tons? I'm just gonna like take the bag and eyeball him a little bit, count a little bit more money, and just put like 50 gold down and be like, can I get that delivered? And just put 50 gold on the table.
Where do you need it delivered to?
The Blue Stallion Inn.
And you want 50 pounds of iron delivered to the inn? Are you sure, sir?
Yes. Actually,
Oh,
no.
fucking hell.
No. And I'm gonna explain about the dwarven blacksmith that we spoke to earlier, and order it there instead.
You want to have your metal sent to a smithy in town?
Aye, that's correct.
Which smithy?
I see. I just know him as Pen Pusher. I've
Well-
completely forgot what the name of the hold was. Yeah. So I'm gonna because I don't know his name. I'm gonna explain whereabouts it is.
So you're going to explain the location of the smithy, where it is in pretty much directly in the middle of the industrial district where all the rest of the smithies and stuff all are together, yeah? I was going to say, do you want to do me a history check to see whether or not you can remember the name of the shop?
That would be
That's,
better.
that's what I was about to offer you to do, but if you want to just generally describe it's where the smithies are kept, then we can have that and see how that conversation goes.
That
if you'd
doesn't,
like.
that doesn't benefit me. I'll try the history check.
Let's have the history check. See what you see how good your memory is.
Here goes absolutely nothing.
See how good your memory is. Oh dear. Right. Okay.
Oh,
give me a
shit,
second.
I've just lost 50 gold.
Badger,
No.
read the fucking roll 20, you fucker.
Right. Bear with me a second. So I now
What are you
need
talking
to
about?
load up one of my apps because if it's
Oh.
gone that bad, then it may possibly be.
It's probably going to end up in Darius's fucking shop. Like, oh, crap.
Oh, that would be most comical.
The cat has brought you a dead rat.
Mm. Hang on. Oh, come on, system. Behave yourself. Oh, let's go with that, shall we? Okay. So,
Where does my character think it is?
So, you remember, you don't remember the name of the place, but it's like, there's a dwarf there, there's someone else there as well, angry dwarf, I think they only do armor. And it's like, right, well, there's a number of armorers. There's one place that is known for having a very, very angry dwarf. Yeah, so I'll arrange that. So okay, so you want we'll have it once your order comes in, we'll have it delivered to Dunsted's for you. 'Cause he's,
Dunsted's.
Yeah, Dunsted's. I'm guessing that's the place you mean.
Aye, that sounds. Yeah. Dunsted's is definitely
So
the
that's
place.
this 50 gold, yeah.
Aye, 50 gold.
So 500 pounds of iron.
Jesus Christ.
So just to put something into perspective for you, if you were having a suit of full plate mail for an average height human, say for example a human who's about 5'10", will normally weigh between 50 and 80 pounds, depending on exactly how it's shaped and all that other stuff. Which is one of the reasons why soldiers these days with their 60-pound pack and that it's the same sort of thing. It's like that's generally been the sort of weight that soldiers have carried over the years. It's not uncommon. But yeah, so a full suit of plate mail you usually weigh around between 50 and 80 pounds, depending on the exact shaping of the metal and how thick it is. Is it actually full on plate all the way through? Chainmail underneath it? Is it having links and stuff? So yeah, so you got 500 pounds of that's this is 500 pounds of iron. This is not 500 pounds of steel. You've asked for.
Yeah,
500 pounds of iron. Okay.
Yeah, I know this. This is raw iron though. This isn't like iron ingots or anything. This is like crude iron.
This this is iron meant for going into a forge. This is all iron, but the idea behind this is that it would get smelted down and then put into
Ingots.
ingot form or sent out into molds for blades or however it is.
And then he's going to dump another 25 and say, can I have 25 or 250 pounds of coal as well to go with it?
Let me just double check on the exact cost of coal, because I know what you're planning on doing is basically you're planning on having forges from steel, and that's fine. That's not a problem doing that. I just want to double check.
What a smart dwarf. If only he'd sent it to the right place.
Listen, your problems are not mine. Metal and money
Clearly.
I've got.
Clearly.
So he'll basically, as he's writing out the order, he says, for the money that you've offered up here, I have got some contact. I can just arrange for you to have. Here, taking into account that. Well, for the 75 gold you've put down here. Well, I can arrange for you to instead have 350 pounds of steel. I don't know how good of a metallurgist you are in terms of converting the iron and coal into steel, but if it makes life easier for you, I do have a steel supplier.
Aye, but what kind of grade steel is it?
Weapons grade steel. It's the only steel we stock.
Roland Hammer's gonna think about it. Send that to Dunsets. The 350 steel.
Right, well, sir, and he basically just scrubs off. He just screws up the previous order. He's like, right, well, and he sorts it out. So that's 75 GP is 350 LB.
While he's writing things down, he's gonna, because he obviously can't lean over the table, but he's gonna prop his nose over the table and just whisper, "Can you write down your name, sign it, this establishment, and print off a copy for me as well?"
So as he's writing the information, he's just stops when you say that. He's looks up at you and says, "You have ordered large amounts of material before, yes, sir?"
Aye, loads of time. Just write it.
Lucky fucker.
Trust issues.
You rolled a fucking dice for it.
Yeah, no, he just rolled a 2 on his. He just rolled a 2 on his insight. I was like, I imagine maybe it's been a while and or maybe you're not familiar with how we do things, but we do always do a dual invoice in that way, so that we have a record of the order and you have a record of the order, and everyone is aware of what's going on. That is generally the way that we run our business here. So.
Fantastic. You just can't trust a few people here. Some people just want your iron, if you know what I'm saying.
He's everybody's just twiddling the quill. He's like, yes, I fully suspect that may be true.
It's like a really big grin from behind the table.
And then finishes scribbling out the invoices for it. And hands you your copy, and it does. It says for the 75. On today's date, the order was made for 75 gold pieces in exchange for 350 pounds of weapons grade steel to be delivered to Dunsteds. Expected delivery time is 3 weeks. The gentleman. Let's just give him a name, because you did say you wanted his name, so let's give him a name. Hang on. is Errol Hartman. Which I'll type that in for you.
Awesome.
Which is at the top of it, the letterhead on this is Hartman and Grote.
Awesome. So he's gonna quickly like stuff that into his bag and nod and just go back to the Blue Stallion.
Okay. So, it is going to be sort of like mid to late afternoon by the time Grokash is going to get... not Grokash, Roland Hammer's going to get back from this. What would Grokash and everyone else, for that matter, actually like to be doing of their afternoon? Has anyone got anything they want to do for the afternoon? Does anyone have anywhere they would like to go? Any
No.
appointments they want to try and arrange?
Not really. Not really.
Namia
Tryna-
will eventually
face-
head down to grab food.
Okay.
As I know, Nimriel actually went to bed.
So, did you say Nimriel's just actually gone to bed, yeah?
Yeah, she went back to bed. After
Okay.
trying some of that alcohol, she just fucked off.
Fair enough. So, Namia is coming down for a little bit of lunch.
She hasn't eaten anything since yesterday's at this
Yeah.
point, so she's pretty hungry. So she'll approach. It's Fosco, right?
Fosco, yeah.
Can I get pretty hefty meal, please? And she'll sit at the bar.
He'll sort of like he sort of takes a look at you and he's sort of like, so how are you feeling? You're normally like nice and bright and chipper. How are you? How are you? Are you all right?
Just a bad morning, but I'm doing better now.
All right.
I'll
okay.
I should
Well,
be okay tomorrow.
Is there anything in particular you'd like for lunch? I've got a few things I can do as a gentleman who well he points out a quite dark clothed gentleman over in the corner. Says it's one of the other people who stay here. The gentleman over there. He's done some wonderful like a sort of like a cured meat sort of thing. I mean, I want to see what other people think of it. If you're feeling up to it, it's are you looking for something
I'd
a
rather
bit
not
rich
try
or
anything. So rich would be good, but I'd rather not try anything you're not too familiar with. Maybe like.
oh no, I like it as well. It's lovely stuff. It's well, you know, get some more feedback from other customers.
I don't think so, but maybe you've got something fancy, maybe like a lobster bisque or something like that.
Well, I haven't got anything as fancy as that, but I've got a. I'll sort something out. I'll sort something out for you. I've got a couple of ideas. You wait there.
Alright.
You wait there, Midden. And he disappears at the back. And about 10-15 minutes later, he brings out this. It's quite a large plate that's steaming quite nicely. It's very clearly sort of like a big portion of like hunter's chicken sort of thing.
Yeah, she'll go ahead and just pull out I guess it was Wednesday night's earnings from the Black Manatee, so that's 5 gold, and she'll just slide it across to him, and she will.
As you go to, he puts his hand on yours and just puts it back. So no, don't forget, you know, you get room and board. Everyone gets a meal, and you look like you need this one.
she'll leave it on the counter, but she'll leave it on her side of the counter. But she nods like she's acknowledging what he said, and she basically just rips into that chicken like it's animal style.
Okie dokie. Well, if everyone is okay with what they've gotten done so far, then we are about on time for ending the session, which means our next session will be finishing up your Saturday, if you want to do anything for your Saturday late afternoon and evening, and then it will be whether or not you want to do anything for your Sunday morning before you head back to the guild hall, and we start getting having that opportunity to do your final prep before heading into the examination dungeon. So I think that's probably a good point then for us to finish, unless anyone has anything little stuff they want to do.
So next session, your plan is to start Sunday morning, or
no? It'll still be your Saturday evening, unless anyone has anything that they particularly. Unless anyone is basically, if everyone is happy for us to essentially skip the rest of Saturday and fast travel, as it were, into Sunday, so you can have your Sunday day and then heading off to the guild hall. If there's still things you want to do for your Saturday, then we can carry on with the Saturday. So it's up to you guys what you want to do for that.
I'm happy to fast forward.
Full steam ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to make friends with whoever on sunsets, but yeah, I'm happy to skip.
Everyone all good for that?
Yeah, I'm happy to skip.
Okay, so what we're doing is on our next session we'll be picking up on the Sunday, where you guys are going to have a little bit of time. You've got a week to think about what you want to do for your Sunday mornings, if there is anything you want to do with your Sunday mornings, and early afternoon before you head back to the guild hall. You can choose to head back early. Basically, you must be heading back to the guild hall by like 5-6 o'clock sort of time on the Sunday. That is basically what it is. Is that that is when you're heading back.
I just had a thought. Is the cooking competition tonight, or is it yesterday night?
The cooking competition would actually, at this point, will have started and been carrying on, and would be coming to a bit of an end.
Okay. She wouldn't think to participate, but she might go to watch. But at this point, then she's done. She's done.
Okay. Well, I'll let you know this now if you are interested. If we're saying that during this this fast forwardy total time that she wants to spend a little bit of time going in to observe it, the winner is the gentleman in the dark clothing who was pointed out to you by Fulbright. Pointed out to you by Fosco.
Okay. She'll keep that in mind. Does she get any kind of descriptors of him from watching the end of the show?
Yeah, it's basically the models that come around in the intro bit on the stream. It's an eye.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would his name have been said?
Yeah, it would have been mentioned that it was Nye that won, and in fact I can even tell you the dish that won it. I can tell you the top three the top three winners. So in the third place was Garth Darth and Hearth from Garth Darth and Hearth's Homely Hearth, which is a large restaurant. And they had a glazed ham and like a beautiful seasonal fruit salad dessert. Second place was a wood elf named Nadine, who's basically just a passionate chef, and she created like this wonderful wild salad. And there was a patisserie, like the when they have that profiterole big cone thing. She kind of like made one of those. And I actually don't have written down what Nye won with. I thought I did have it written down. But I'll go back over the other streams and I'll let you know exactly what it was he won with, or I can just ask him because he was quite excited for it because the guy who plays Knight is actually a cook. He
Nice.
really loved the cooking competition. I was like, I have no choice but to let him win this cooking competition because of how descriptive he's being. See you later, Slam Man. Take care, my friend.
Excited.
It's like super excited. But yeah, so he was the winner of that one. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll end our recording here, and then we shall find another D&D streamer to go and pass the love on to. So
If Jim's still here, thanks for the raid.
I think she's still here. I hope she's still here. I love her very dearly, so I really hope she's still here. Where's the button? There's the button. Okay, so we say bye-bye to the YouTube people, and we should hopefully be seeing you next time. Bye-bye. Say bye-bye to the YouTube people.
Yeah,
Bye,
later.
YouTube.